Now, one interesting dynamic that played out in this year's trade deadline was the fact that Ramona Shelburne and Woj had stated that Daryl Morey had inquired to the Phoenix Suns about Kevin Durant. And not only did he inquire about Kevin Durant, he also asked about Devin Booker and Bradley Beal. That statement about Booker and Beal got retracted, but not the inquiry of Kevin Durant. And as far as Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey, they better watch their backs, because with Daryl Morey's history, that man is not to be trusted. And with the new CBA rules, the only way this could have really worked is for sure for Tobias Harris to be shipped out and Tyrese Maxey being on that rookie scale contract about to hit unrestricted free agency. That would have been a tricky move right there. I don't know how they would have finessed the money to make it work, especially with the Phoenix Suns being over the second apron in the luxury tax. But I don't put it past Daryl Morey, as he's known to be quite a deal maker. But his only Achilles heel is team building and handling player personnel. As in his final years in Houston, he pretty much dumbed down a lot of his players' games to being just another cog in the wheel. We've seen guys like PJ Tucker make complaints, James Harden, Carmelo Anthony, Austin Rivers, Daniel House. The list goes on and on. Most of the Rockets players from 2019 were very frustrated upon the exit, and it even led to James Harden asking for a trade. But this week has been very telling for Daryl Morey, as he comes from that analytical tree, that Sam Hinkie tree. But in the past few weeks, a lot of things have come into light about Daryl Morey, as two former players outed him as well as a current player. But I gotta say, there's something definitely up with these analytical guys, because they never take the human element into consideration. And the same thing applies for Daryl Morey. The situation he was put in dealing with Chris Paul and Carmelo Anthony, two players that were dominant in their primes, as they was going through their transitional phase later on in their career, they somehow ran into the guy that just does not understand basic human interaction. And these type of scenarios this season kept on repeating, as he had a fallout with James Harden and Patrick Beverley had outed him. But to start off, Carmelo Anthony had reflected on his time in Houston and some of his runnings with Daryl Morey. You guys check it out, and every once in a while, I'll check in.
I'm in Africa, bro. Chilling, family. I get a call. Houston. Melo, you are our missing piece.
How old are you at this time?
Oh, this is 2017. Like this.
You're early 30s.
I'm 33. I don't know.
Okay.
30.
All right. Just for everybody to know, you're 33 years old.
You know, I'm still
They
rocking.
ain't like you're 38. Then they trying to give them the restructure.
I was just an all-star in New York 2 years ago. You get what I'm saying? Like, come on. I went from New York to going to OKC after 24. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, wasn't a talent. It ain't nothing of basketball wise. So, yo, boom, Houston calls. Hey, we need to make this happen. You're the piece. You see what happened to us last year. We was missing this. What you can bring. All of that.
Now, something that Melo might have left out, I believe CP3 is the reason why Daryl Morey made that call. He was trying to please Chris Paul, especially after he made the decision as a free agent. So presidents and GMs from time to time try to please their star players. And even Paul George has stated the reason why he re-signed in OKC was because they honored his wish for them to go out and trade for Melo.
Where's CP at?
Because CP's in Houston.
CP's in Houston.
Is Mike D'Antoni in Houston?
Mike D'Antoni in Houston.
Okay.
PG's in Houston. I mean, CP, James, PJ Tucker, Capella.
Mm-hmm.
Gerald Green. You know what I mean? It's like they just lost. They were just up 3-1. You know what I mean? Like they just lost that. Trevor Ariza. They get Trevor out of there. Which is why they were saying you are the missing piece. Right? I already knew going into Houston that they was looking at me as a Trevor Ariza. And there's no knock to Trevor Ariza. But they wanted that type of mentality. Somebody who was a 3-and-D guy. Somebody who didn't mind sitting in the corner, didn't mind cutting, didn't mind, playing off of those.
Why would they come and get you?
Facts. Wade is asking a great question. Melo is none of that. Sitting in the corner, cutting off, moving off ball, making cuts. None of that is Melo. Just the word 3-and-D. Melo's a 3-point part. But the defense, fuck out of here.
This is my question. I'm glad you asked this question. I'm asking them that. So how do you see me in this offense?
Right.
Because I know y'all are layups and threes. I got it. I'm a rhythm guy, right? But I see CP playing, so I'm like, okay, CP is kind of a similar mid-range guy. Got to get to it. Got to get a rhythm. You know what I mean? I'm okay. He's there. So, they would accept that from me. Man, I get there. I get to Houston, man. They tell me, D-Wade, no mid-range shots.
This is where some of the analytical guys get lost right here. How even before the game starts, you automatically phase out a part of the offense when you don't even know how the defenders are going to guard you. That doesn't even make any sense. And in the playoffs, the higher up you go, the deeper and deeper into the rounds you get. You're playing against teams that have 5 to 7 guys who are in sync defensively. So how the hell can you just eliminate the mid-range just off rip even before the game start? That shit doesn't make any fucking sense. It sounds like some regular season shit. But keep in mind, at this time, the Houston Rockets had the NBA Finals in sight from season to season, as they were a top 3 to 4 team in the West, year in, year out.
What? You brought me here for what?
They talking to me. They ain't talking to me. They ain't talking. They talking to somebody else.
I'm looking at CP like behind me on the chair. I'm like, see, what? He's like, leave it alone. It's only 40. They broke it down numbers. We only allowed 17 mid-range shots a game. Here's who could take them. Broke them down.
You know, interesting right there. Melo said, I looked at CP3 and CP3 said, leave it alone. Once again, I believe the only reason Melo went to Houston was upon CP3's request. Daryl Morey was just trying to please his star, but he did not want Melo there.
CP can take the majority of the mid-range shots. James can take. Melo, you get maybe one. Maybe one. I had 25,000 points from mid-range. You tell me I only can take one mid-range game a game, but you want me to shoot 12 threes.
Okay.
No. If I ain't shooting this mid-range, I ain't gonna be
I
able
ain't
to
gonna
make
get
12
no rhythm
threes.
for them 12 threes.
Not at all.
And in the few appearances Melo had in Houston, he missed a lot of open three-point shots. I'm not sure if his legs were still the same because towards the end of his career, the last few years in New York and also the few years in OKC, he kept pump faking a lot every time he drove to the rim. So that's pretty much the first sign you start to see players, they don't really have that same athleticism anymore when they start pump faking nonstop, especially for guys like Melo, who used to just go to the rack and just bang it.
They held that against it. And yo, D-Wade, I had to swallow my pride and ego so much in Houston. Like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it because everybody says I can't do it.
Nobody believes you're going to be able to do it.
Nobody believes
Yeah,
that.
I ain't think you can do it.
He's going to
either.
come off the bench. It's like.
Okay.
Now, it's not just coming off the bench. It's not just about that, Melo. Keep in mind, with the system the Rockets already had, in which they pretty much finished top 2 in the West year in, year out. They already had a few guys coming off the bench, and Melo might have had to been at least the second to third guy coming off the bench. They already had guys like Austin Rivers already built into their system, Daniel House, Kenneth Faried, Gerald Green, James Ennis III. They already had a plethora of guys that was already built in and understood their roles already. And them almost making it to the finals the year before, they're really not going to take a lot of pushback from Melo not wanting to fit into that role.
Can't do that.
Bro, I never said I ain't coming off the bench. I told y'all do what y'all got to do. I'm just here. Like, y'all do what y'all got to do, right? Go there. Well, we want to keep PJ in the starting lineup. Cool. Go ahead. I already accepted the fact that I'm coming off the bench. Cool.
The drip god, aka PJ Tucker, you know he was playing that great defense in Houston. It was playing him like almost 38 minutes plus a game. He was the only real defender at times.
D-Wade, I went on a spree of like averaging like 24, like for like 7 out of 10 games.
I remember you hooping.
Bro.
He was hooping, but Houston was losing. Houston was losing, and it was looking like nothing like they were the year prior. That was the issue. They already had a system where they were a top 3 to 2 team in the West year in, year out. All of a sudden, they got Melo, a guy that's going to want more volume shots. He's going to want more usage. And just out of nowhere, they have a slow start to the season. So you ask yourself, how is analytical man, aka Daryl Morey, going to really handle this? Or is he even equipped to have proper communication with CP3 and Melo to make sure that the roles are understood?
Come back to San Antonio. We're on the San Antonio trip. In the room, I get the call. Hey, I'm coming in town. We need to meet. We like 3-5 or something like that. Need to meet. I'm thinking he wanted to meet with me to figure out what's going on with the team and the players. And I don't want to say his name. I don't. Come to my room and says.
Now, right there, I'm wondering if he's talking about James Harden. Something is going on with one of the players. Melo sort of alludes throughout this conversation that James Harden might have been one of the players that was in the know of him leaving Houston.
Yeah, I think your services are no longer needed.
Straight to it.
I see.
No foreplay.
No foreplay.
Damn. Sounds like he had all the foreplay with James Harden. I'm pretty sure he spoke to him before making that decision. I know James Harden gave that A-OK.
I say, man, get out of here, man. What you talking about, man? We gonna figure this shit like that. Like I gotta take it on the joking side. You're like, man, yeah, we gonna figure, but nah, we just don't see you part of the plans going into playoffs. Playoffs? We are 9 games into the season. You talking about playoffs? So now I'm getting serious. He's just like very stoic and like, well, this is what it's gonna be, and this is, and I say, damn, bro, like you don't have a soul, man. You don't have a heart. You don't.
It's not all that, Melo. He just don't have great communication skills. Number one, he should have told Chris Paul, you are not a good fit for this team right now. He should have just told him straight up. Instead, it's obvious that Daryl Morey was tap dancing around, and then when you came through, you didn't work out. It was an easy decision. You could just tell from the way he did it. He already knew this shit was never gonna work.
So I can take it, but the fact that you just came in here and just said, we don't have no place for you on this team. And I asked you why, and you tells me, well, it's just not a fit. I thought it was gonna fit. It's not gonna fit.
No, he never fucking thought it was gonna fit. He was just trying to please CP3. Once again, Daryl Morey, man. Oh my God, this guy. It's like he put himself into weird circumstances for no reason. Just man up and tell CP3, no thank you. We're not gonna go out and get Melo.
What's not gonna fit? So now, wheels are turning. Call CP. Go CP. Listen, bruh, you my family. You my brother. If you knew anything about this,
Not you knew anything about this.
this is real talk. This is 1 o'clock in the morning. Yo, come to my room right now, champ. Like he like, what? I ain't there. Now I don't give a fuck where you at. I need to holler at you. Yo, you know anything about this? Come in the room. What, man, I swear I ain't. Yo, see, don't lie to me, bro. Like, come on. Like, I'm hurt at this point. Like, nigga, you my best friend. Like, nah. Like, I'm gonna find out what's going on. I said, see, I just need you to tell me. I asked him 3 times, bro. CP will tell you that. I asked him 3 times. Did you know anything about this? He like, nah.
See, the fact that Melo keeps confiding in CP3 throughout this whole Houston Rockets situation, it shows you CP3 was the reason why Melo was there. He definitely made that request to Daryl Morey.
I promise you. He did. So I'm like, oh, all right, my nigga ain't, you know what I mean? Like, all right, boom. Like, I'm gonna figure this out. Like, I'm gonna figure it out. See, don't even trip. Call somebody else. Yo, you know about this? No. What's going on? But
I'm wondering who's somebody else. You see, Melo does not say the name. I believe Melo has issues with James Harden. And this is the player he's talking about right now. Because James Harden would be the only one to know because he's running the ship in Houston. Daryl Morey's whole rise to fame is James Harden. So at this time, if James Harden wanted Melo to stay on the team, he would have stayed on the team.
I was just with you at dinner. So of course you don't got nothing to do with this. I'm just with you. You know I'm about to head a meeting. And to this day, I can't figure out what happened. I don't know what happened. I get rumblings of
Right.
You know
Right.
how the game go. We was in that seat before. You know what I'm saying? Just a
Yeah.
matter of what you do with that seat.
Yeah.
Interesting. We was in that seat before. He's talking to Wade as being a team leader, the team captain, the team superstar. So who do you think he's referring to? He's referring to James Harden. It's James Harden, man. He's the only odd man out in this whole situation. He has the most say-so in Houston. But once again, Daryl Morey and his fucking communication skills are poor. You can just tell. It's too many circumstances.
You feel me? So now that year happens. I'm off away from the game, and I say I'm done with it.
So you were done with the game after that?
Yeah, because I ain't had no answers. No answers. None. 28 the night before, 25.
You got no answer while you sitting at home. You like, why am I sitting
Bro,
at
you
home?
told me I should come to the game, but sit behind the bench. What the fuck is what? Oh, you
Right.
really trying to embarrass me now? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You really trying to make me flip to make me look bad? Like, no, I'm not gonna give you that. You know what? You asked me to leave. I'm cool. I ain't going to the game. Don't ask. You know what I mean? Like, you asked me to leave basically the team, and then you asked me to come to the games. I'm not doing that. No disrespect. We ain't gonna make no scene out of this though.
That's crazy. He kicked him off the team to ask him to sit behind the bench. That shit is wild.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bite the bullet. I'm gonna walk away.
Yeah, but it ain't that easy.
I'm gonna deal with it on my time though.
Okay.
Yeah, so throughout the course of this segment, you'll see that this type of miscommunication with Daryl Morey repeats over and over. As now we're going to hear from CP3 and his experience with Daryl Morey, especially being traded from Houston to go to OKC. And keep in mind, CP3, just like Melo, they're in the phase of their career where they're transitioning from being that dominant star to being sort of in a different role as they kind of phase out into the sunset towards retirement. And during a sensitive time period for players who were once dominant, it has to be handled a certain way, and the communication has to be clear. But once again, Daryl Morey's not that guy for it.
I can't just act like ain't nothing happening. But to go to Melo's situation, Melo told he told you, like, when he texted me, what Melo tell you? You know, yeah. Oh man.
Melo
Boy,
told us his
that's too
version.
much.
What is your
Yeah.
version of the moment
So this
that
is what.
y'all came?
Yes.
Y'all met in the room.
Yes.
All right.
But the way
The hotel room.
Yeah, so the way I got to the hotel room is crazy. I had the family in town. We was in San Antonio.
Okay.
I had Jada and the kids, and we was at Andretti's or something like that, like a race car place with Rudy Gay and his family, right? So we there, my family, and I get a text from Melo, and it said, "Bro, did you know?" Hold up. I called Melo, and I'm gonna tell you the whole story. And Melo, I know how tough you are, but I'm gonna tell you.
No,
for
he
real.
talked about it.
Right, I'm gonna tell you. So I called Mel. I said, "Dawg, what's going on?" He said, "Man," he said, "Daryl came to his room."
Mm-hmm.
Right, and if you know Daryl Morey, he
Don't know him.
yeah, he no people skills. Real talk, you know what I'm saying? Like, he don't really understand how to talk to people. And so as soon as Melo told me that, I got Jada, my kids, and we got up. I said, "Rudy, I gotta go." I went back to the hotel, right? Called Melo, went to his room, knocked on the door or whatnot. And I was in there with Melo for a long time, a couple hours. And like, Mel was in tears, man. Like, seriously, and I was right there with him because I know how much he gave to the game. But throughout the whole process of him coming to Houston, me and Melo would talk, about the start and about all of this stuff. I never, said this is what's gonna happen or that's not gonna happen. So he tells me what happened with Daryl or whatnot, and I was like, what? What'd he say? He told him, came to his room, told him he'd get him a flight back to New York. Yeah, how you say this to this man, first and foremost? So then he told him, so we played San Antonio the next day, right? We were going to play San Antonio the next day.
Yeah,
Try to tell that man that he could get on the team plane and fly back with us after the game. I ain't never, you something else, boy. I ain't never really told. This is some of the most disrespectful shit I've never seen, right? So.
Melo said something about him, told him to sit behind the bench or something like that too.
Oh, see, I don't know that. He might have said that, but I know
Like
he said
come
something
and sit
about
behind the bench and then probably fly with the team and plane.
fly on the team plane.
Damn. So this gets even worse. It's not just Melo off the team, then sit behind the bench. It's Melo, don't come to the San Antonio game and then fly back with us afterwards. This shit is crazy.
Back to Houston, right? After you just told the man you don't need his services no more. Nigga, play. Excuse me. Hold it.
Uh-oh, CP3 getting out of character. Oh, man, CP3 getting out of character. But hey, you starting to see why James Harden had the fallout with Daryl. You're starting to see why.
Excuse me. So, right? I think I might have hit Daryl or something like that too and just told him how fucked up he was and how disrespectful that was. And we played against San Antonio that next night. I got a plane on my own. Me, Jada, and Melo flew back to flew back to Houston. Because you was not gonna do that and then expect him to get on the team plane afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, also too, when Melo told his side of the story, it wasn't just Melo in tears. I feel like you were too.
Absolutely.
Well, you
That's
left that out when you said your story.
No, I said Melo. I said me too.
No, you did not.
No, you didn't.
Oh, I thought I did.
Yeah, well, Melo did.
I thought I did. Yeah, no.
But it was an emotional moment, right?
No, straight up. I thought I said I was too.
Yeah.
I said Melo's in tears. I said me too. Well, I'm saying me too, because I know him. I know the type of work he had put into the game.
Man.
I knew being away from the family. You know what I'm saying? Seeing Cayenne growing up and all this, and it's crazy. And I think that's why even now, like when I see him with Cayenne getting to show up, just like when I see you with your kids getting to show up, because I'm gonna tell you this real quick, that not to do with that story, but this whole cycle, this whole NBA thing is the wildest thing, because this was my dream, to make it to the NBA, right? My kids, my wife and everybody, they know that. They root for you, they support you, they do all these things. But my parents, I'm not in the NBA without my dad. Without my parents for sure, but without my dad coaching me and, you know, giving me the tools that I need, right? And so then when we have kids who have these same dreams and aspirations, it's the hardest thing, because I'm not getting an opportunity to be there and do for them
like
what
your dad
my
did
folks
for you.
did
Yeah,
for
your
me,
mom did for you,
especially
yes.
my dad. So it's dope to see y'all, and especially Melo.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you will be, you know, at some point you will be there more, because, you know, he will continue to have basketball life and your basketball life will have come to an end.
Yeah.
So you would definitely have that moment, but 1,000%, it's one of the dopest things that you can do.
But that Houston Melo thing was wild. But throughout the whole time, and Melo know I'd tell him right now if he was right here. So I don't get any alerts, right, on my phone. I don't get no alerts.
Notifications off.
No notifications. I'm talking about like Bleacher Report, ESPN. Like I don't be no. When I was union president, I cut all that off because I was having to deal with real stuff, not like speculation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of stuff I find out.
People calling you because of speculation. You like, no, this is what's really happening.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm always having to tell somebody the real story because that's what it is. So a lot of stuff I find out is because Jada tell me. You know what I mean? It's like somebody got punched the other night and somebody was like, yo, such got punched. I was like, what? You know, and then that was how I operated. But when
Not somebody got punched the other night.
Yeah, they did. Hope you all right. When Melo came to Houston, it was all these things coming out about if he's starting or
coming off the bench.
the bench and all this stuff, like, right?
Yep.
So I called Melo, right? I was like, look, if you come to Houston or whatnot, we sort of had a starting five already, you know what I'm saying, with PJ and all this stuff. And it was crazy because it was almost like when I was in college because PJ got hurt. PJ got hurt.
Oh, like your point guard in college.
Yes, PJ got hurt in camp. And so the first few preseason games, Melo started.
I remember that.
But throughout that whole situation, I don't never care what they talking about in the media. We doing real life. You know what I'm saying?
Trust and believe, I know that.
We talking in real life. And so if you gonna let your homie like have to guess what's going on in the media, then it ain't gonna work.
Now that's interesting. In the beginning of that season, PJ got hurt. I'm wondering if Daryl Morey was put in a compromising position, because I'm sure after PJ got hurt, especially in the beginning of that season when they struggled, he did not want to give those minutes to Melo. But due to the fact that Melo is a superstar or was a former superstar, it will look crazy for his brand for Daryl Morey to give his minutes, let's say, to another player like Daniel House, or split the minutes in between Austin Rivers, and then still give Melo about 10 to 15 minutes to 20 minutes a game. There is a lot of politics with having players who were even former superstars. As this season you can see with the Lakers, they don't really have the power to just trade LeBron James. They were contacted by the Warriors, and Jeannie Buss told the Warriors it's okay for them to speak to LeBron. But with some of these guys, the NBA hierarchy is so out of order, and just the power and leverage that they have, their own franchises have to actually come fine with them about about them getting traded. This shit is crazy. But going back to the circumstance right here, I don't think Daryl Morey actually forethought this, that somebody would get hurt and it would look like Melo would be the next man up, even though deep down in his mind he understands they need a 3-and-D wing. Melo had mentioned that earlier in his interview. Houston was looking for a 3-and-D player who can be like a Trevor Ariza type. That's exactly what he said. And Melo's none of those things.
It ain't gonna work. But Melo, through and through, because at the end of the day, my relationship and my friendship with him was more important to me than anything that would happen there in Houston. So I made sure that I communicated with him.
So you have, so you had your own Daryl Morey experience right after that.
Hey boy, y'all is something else on this joint. Y'all is something else.
CP3 don't want to get into it, but they about to get into it, man. What's his issue with Daryl?
Have
I'm
mercy.
just saying because I don't think you ever had a chance to get clear your chest.
Wait, talk to me about that. Do I know about that?
Yes, you do. Because y'all three had a conversation about that before, but it never came out just yet.
Hey, listen, everybody here. Don't ever go
Come on, D-Wade, stop fronting about it, man. You know what's going down with Daryl.
on your family's podcast, all right? Don't ever
No
go
personal things about you.
I'm
Listen,
just saying, but just safe space, man. This is safe space.
everybody listening, don't ever go on your family's podcast because they gonna ask you about stuff that.
It's a safe space.
Listen.
It's a safe space.
Safe space to the world.
This is your time.
Wait, I don't know if I know about this. Wait, let me.
Daryl
I'm gonna let
Morey
him. Say how you want to say it.
Well, shit, we're here now, huh?
Was this in Houston?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh man.
Was this at the end of your Houston tenure that we're talking about?
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
want to talk about it or you want to move on?
No, I tell you. So
We can move on.
I basically got myself traded from Houston. I basically got myself traded from Houston. I called Daryl.
Did you really get yourself traded from Houston, CP3? Or did Daryl Morey do some fucked up shit?
And I called the coach, Dan Tony, to tell him somebody could come end up playing on the team with us. But what happened was Daryl called me while I was in Vegas, right? And what's crazy is I seen Shea in Vegas. So the night that started everything is when Kawhi went to the Clippers and then Paul George got traded to the Clippers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so Russ was still in OKC, and Shea went to
He went to OKC for the
OKC.
trade. Yep.
Yeah, for the trade. So I actually talked to Russ that night, but then I seen Shea in Vegas. When I seen Shea, I dapped up Shea. I was like, Shea, man, it's gonna be good for you, man. You're gonna get to hoop. You're gonna get to do your thing in OKC.
Yeah.
Damn. The whole time CP3 was talking to his teammate.
So then I go over to the gym to work out. I'm in Vegas and Daryl called me. Daryl was like, hey, Chris, I was just calling you because we was trying to figure out if we could possibly get Russ to, what's his name, to Houston. He was like, I was just calling you to what did he say? Just to make sure you wouldn't want to go to OKC. I was like, no, why? I done moved 15 people to Houston. And he was like, okay, I was just making sure. He was like, I would never trade you to somewhere you didn't want to go because you chose to come to us from the Clippers, right?
Okay.
Like I chose to go to Houston from LA.
Yes, you did. Okay.
So that's what he had said to me. So then I go down to Peach Jam. I'm in Atlanta at Peach Jam, and you know Colin Sexton.
Mm-hmm.
Colin had came down to Peach Jam to work out with me, and I'm at the house chilling, and I was on the phone with Jada, and next thing you know, bloop, it said that I was getting traded to what's his name, and then my phone started ringing, and it was Daryl calling.
You were getting traded to OKC.
Yeah, so I ain't know. Then Daryl called me. Phone started ringing. It was Daryl called me. And Daryl, like I told you, I'm very matter of fact. Daryl was like, hey, man, it just moved so fast. You know, that's what he said, it moved so fast. I said, it's all good. I said, I just want you to tell me one thing. You said you wasn't going to trade me, right, to OKC. He said, yep, I said that, but I said, that's all I need to know. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's that.
Yeah. Okay.
But that happens.
Yeah.
Right? So you
Unfortunately.
just,
But it happens.
But
in
it's
this
part of the business.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of the business or whatnot. So
I think that's important to share because athletes who listen to this podcast, they need to understand, even Hall of Famers and future Hall of Famers, it's a part of the business for them as well, right? What someone tells you probably ain't gonna hold true, right? Like, you know, I left Miami for a lot of reasons because you buy into what people tell you, and then when it doesn't show up in the way that you wanted to, now your feelings are hurt.
Yeah,
but there's a difference, D-Wade. Pat Riley looked you in the face and told you he's not going to give you that money that you wanted. See, that's the difference. Pat Riley has the balls and respect for you to look you in your eye and let you know what's what. Daryl Morey's not like that. He'll pretend like he's siding with you, and then all of a sudden, when your back's turned, this guy pulls off another deal. That's been the reputation that's been following Morey from Houston all the way to Philly.
It's that, and I think when you've been playing for a while or whatnot, and you sort of understand the business, right? Like, you know, like when you played for a while, like you know how the trade calls happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know how everybody always say, it just moves so fast. Like, we sort of know how it goes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we got agents, we know the phone calls that happen, and then there's a whole trade call that's got to happen for
What
it to
about
happen.
Chris?
Yeah, I think it's just hard. I think it's hard conversations that have to be had, and you know what they say, time heals, you know, certain things or whatnot. But you learn.
So that was example number 2 of Daryl Morey kind of tap dancing around his words, not really being a trustworthy person, even though it's all business. You still gotta look a man in his eyes and let him know what's going down, what you need, what's gonna happen. And this same exact scenario played out once again with Patrick Beverley being on the Philadelphia 76ers, as Daryl Morey tried to deny to Patrick Beverley about trading him to the Milwaukee Bucks. Straight up to his face, too.
So we playing in Denver, and I hit Daryl Morey with the, hey, I'm getting traded. You know. No, not you. No, of course not.
So he's a liar.
But you got to think, you feel me? Like, you know, it's probably a bigger move that's about to happen. The uncertainty if, you know, you want to win right now. You know, a player like me, I want to win right now. So, and I get a chance to be with Doc, too. And my coach, Rex. Ooh, it's lit. It's lit. It's lit. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's looking like Pat Bev is back to his Clipper days with Doc Rivers. But hey, at the end of the day, Daryl Morey, too many fallouts. And I don't know why he keeps denying what he does. It's part of the business. The players know. It's almost like the military. Guys are going to have to move from place to place. The players understand that, hey, I could be traded any day. There's just something about the heavy analytical GMs and coaches, especially in the mid-2010s. The Sam Hinkie, Daryl Moreys, and the various coaches that have been around the league. That era of the NBA has had some of the biggest blowouts we've ever seen because there was never a plan B. And an underestimated thing about the guys just being heavy on analytics the data doesn't normally work if the younger generation of kids that are coming up right before they get into the league, if they're working on different aspects of their game. So there could be another generation where their ball handling skills are even higher. Maybe their three-point shooting is not as good. So how are you going to try to run the same type of game? You have to adapt according to what generation is coming in. Right now, in the beginning stages of the 2020 era, we see the rise of the skilled big man. So then the data would have to start to skew according to how to make that big man more efficient, what to put around him. Nothing about the basketball game should be what can we take away from the game. The same way Daryl Morey said no mid-ranges. Why would you begin to squeeze out your options when the whole floor is available? And just that ideology alone in present day today is already outdated, as the floor is so spaced out with all the brand new talent coming in, being skilled from ball handling to shooting. You got to guard guys everywhere throughout the floor, and you add on top of that illegal defense. Now you have enough space to actually take mid-range shots at a higher efficiency clip. But at the end of the day, the heavy data approach is missing the human aspect to it when dealing with a game that's based off a team concept. And for that, your personnel management got to be on point. And you got to take it into consideration. And that's something that this heavy data approach has always been missing, especially the psyche in the playoffs when the referees begin to tuck in their whistles and guys begin to feel the pressure of the game as the floor tends to shrink and the pace begins to slow down. But when it comes to Daryl Morey, he's one hell of a deal maker. But Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, you better watch your back.